Hello and welcome back to Fate Grand Order. I'm Luce, your resident legally distinct Fae creature, and I decided to do something a bit more relaxing tonight and just do some basic FGO farming. Plus, hey, the Barbatos raid here has been going on, so I figure, oh, why not? I can farm to do something to get some stuff done here, and I get to pretend I'm actually being productive by streaming it. Isn't that nice? For those who aren't familiar with this game, the way the raids work is there's a fixed number of total copies of the boss, basically, and each one killed subtracts from the total. You basically just have all players working together until they all die, or usually with a natural decay added to make sure it ends within a reasonable length of time. So basically, this is going to be a farming stream, so if that's not your jam, I understand. There'll be some more story-based stuff coming up in my future streams. Plus, we have the multiplayer streams as well, but if you just want to relax or have something in the background, enjoy. As you can see, I did test my team a little to make sure this one would work. Here. I guess any maxed out Castoria will work. I should probably replace a Rash with someone to bond farm, because no one in the back row is getting used. Actually, Magikarp is good. Yeah. Perfect. Alright, so the one I'm using for this is my Grailed Queen Sheba. I've sadly wasted all my teapots for now, so I don't get to use those. I have a maxed out Ocean Flyer to make sure she's at absolute full power. She's not gold foed yet. She's a contender, however. Oops. She's a contender, however, now that I've just finished my gold foes on Vitra, but I don't know who's gonna be next here. So yeah, I'm going full arts for this Barbatos raid. We're going to see how quickly I can one-shot him over and over again. And I'm not worried about using nearly as many golden apples, even though I know that the Tesla Fest farm is coming, because I'm not the kind of person who goes hard on lottos. Oh, that would be a problem if not for this. Yeah, this fight is absolutely the epitome of call an ambulance. Not for me, but not for me. Wait, what's her overcharge again? Oh, it's just a debuff. Right, I forgot. Yeah, that's not gonna help her too much. Yeah, the new plug suit is really, really nice. I love it personally. Now, when I did this testing, I did about 600k, so I think, keyword think, this will be enough, but we'll see. Perfect, 700k. Yeah, so we're cleanly... Alright, so yeah, we're cleanly one-turning this. Oh, I feel good about tonight, that's for sure. Oh, it's only 30 FP. I keep thinking it's 40 for some reason. Well, no complaints then. That said, I do specifically need a maxed out Castoria each time. I'd best go with someone who has the event CE, even though I don't necessarily need that. Yeah, I'm really loving the new plug suits we got from Tunguska, or how we pronounce it. I really don't need to waste time using the skill 2 on the Castorias. Alright, here we go. Might as well just 2. This should be easy. Queen Sheba was the one I was pulling for on the Abbey banner because she is one of those historical figures you just don't see very often. Oh, nice. That's also why she's been grailed a little, just to mark her as special. Caster Shooten is technically stronger for a number of cases. In fact, I'm sure she's also one of the available ones for this raid, but... yeah. Yeah, it has to be Castoria here because I'm going arts. I could have potentially also done this with Adelante Altar, but my Queen Sheba is a higher NP level, so she's probably the safest one to go with. Higher crit rate. Is that crit rate or crit damage up? Not that it matters, right? Not that it matters, of course, because he's about to die horribly. I'm not sure if I necessarily need all the buffs that I'm using, but I'm also not willing to risk it. Like, Morning Lark. Yeah, they gain C stars. I shouldn't need them, so let's do it this way. All in. Lucky for me, Queen Sheba is actually a pretty rare class, since if you miss Caster Shooten, she's not coming back for a very long time. And plus mine's grailed, so she's just naturally stronger. So I've got a lot of excuses to use her anytime an assassin boss comes in. Although, for better or for worse, I will say, you actually don't need a single target caster in most cases. A berserker will usually be, well, for lack of a better term, good enough. Yeah, don't need to care about healing when you're gonna die in a single turn anyway. Technically, the arts down is the only one that I should care about, but hey, Plug Suit gives me a number of benefits. Full arts chain. Queen Sheba has a lot of really good refund, and so if you can get her a full arts chain, I mean. It's okay, but the big one is from the arts cards. Still, not a big deal. Shows a ridiculous number of hits. Like I said, you don't really. The thing that is, you don't really need a single target caster like her or caster Shooten for a while, in most cases. So not really a big deal. Don't need to cure her, but I feel like it. A lot of level 100 Castorias. Well, that's good for me. It makes it easier to do the double Castoria clear here. Yeah, go ahead and waste your turn on an attack buff. Yeah, I've yet to see her do less than 600k damage, so I'm pretty sure she's cleanly clearing this. Yeah, never seen her go below 650k damage, so I'm pretty sure this is a clean fight no matter what. Don't know how many apples I'm using, but I'm not going to be going hard on the lotto, so no point in holding back on them. Historia's not a fighter, but I'm consistently surprised at how well mine has been doing in Grail fronts. In fact, I even think I got one on stream a while ago. Yeah, one of them, she was my last tournament live and somehow managed to obliterate the entire remaining competition. Never underestimate arts nukes, I guess, even when the arts are just from an arts brave chain. Overkill. Always a nice thing to see. Yeah, I think I'm surprised she's doing this much damage, but then again, I guess the power creep since the last raid has been pretty heavy. I mean, when the Lady Rain's case files first ran, we didn't have Castoria or Oberon, so we had to make do with Tummo and Waver. Plus maybe another plug suit Tummo just to be safe. I'm very glad they added subtitles to the skill usage, card usage, and all that rather than just NPs. I don't need full-on English voice acting. I just kind of appreciate knowing what they're saying without having an idea of what they're saying without having to actually look it up, you know? Wow, 200k pillars is destroyed already. The masters are really working hard this raid. I say, as I am one of the masters, completely folding this thing. It's fine, I just need, strictly speaking, the CE on the Castoria is not doing much. I just need to make sure they have their skills at max. And I'm pretty sure I already purged all the ones that aren't. Don't get me wrong, I did give people quite a while. In fact, I don't think I purged any of the Castorias for about a year. Or before I started noticing, hey, this one really still shouldn't be at 6, 8, 10 or whatever it was. So rest assured I was trying to be nice. Then again, I guess if they have Castoria for a year and don't really have enough bear skills yet, they might not even play the game anymore. Hard to say. But yeah, that's everything. Feels bad not having a brave chain, but he dies to the NP pretty easily. Yeah, this is really a testament to how powerful these supports are nowadays. Yeah, I don't need any face cards whatsoever. I just need to put focus all the buffs on Sheba. Nice, Mandricardo's maxed. Rest assured, I did get the interlude and stuff done for the strengthening quest and all that done for Gray. She's not my favorite assassin farmer, but she is hands down the strongest one after her buff. Oh, nice. I don't rely on magic resistance protected from debuffs, but it's always nice when that happens. That said, I don't purge people from my friends list if they have like a really rare Grailed Servant, because that one's just nice to see every now and then.
お目が高い。もったいないですね。この唐室の底に秘された高さは汝を測り見定める見足目となる。水泳に組まず。鐘の音が聞こえる。
And if you're wondering for how long I'm going to be streaming this, I genuinely don't know. I guess just keep going until I'm too tired to continue. That needs to go. Yeah, any arts down buff needs to be gone and needs to be gone yesterday. As much as I want to say my grailing of Sheba is what allowed her to accomplish all this, I'm pretty confident it's the fact that Oberon is here that's pretty much guaranteeing she'll never fail the kill. Gestoria's probably doing a lot too.
この唐室の底に秘された高さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。水泳に組まず。
僕だってやればできるさ。椅子に座ってるだけが王様じゃないとも。
Yeah, I wish I wasn't a complete ignoramus that used up all my teapots earlier. This is kind of an ideal spot to be using it. And if you're wondering why I'm trust farming those servants in particular, honestly no particular reason. I just want to get my lower stars up there in trust. Gotta show love to the common pulls, you know? Oh no, please don't stop my healing in a fight where my goal is to one-shot you. FGO may have had a surprising amount of power creep for a while, even in terms of raw damage. Like within the next year, based on what we know from the home server, there's actually some real absurdly powerful servants coming in the pipeline, but luckily the way the game is set up, it's not going to be actually all that necessary, which is nice for me. I can just focus on some fun ones now that my account's by and large, well, complete. In terms of my needs, that is. The only few holes that remain are going to be picked up by some of the welfares. On that note, I am glad that gachas on the whole are by and large getting better welfares. Not to say some disappointing ones don't exist. I mean, at time of streaming, the next Arcanite events, the Aya Altar one has a pretty disappointing one, but by and large, they're pretty good. Yeah, get rid of that. But yeah, things have changed so much, even Fire Emblem Heroes actually has good welfares now, believe it or not. Yeah, that's how much things have changed on the gacha fronts in general. Oh, I don't want to do that one yet. Actually, I probably could, and it won't matter, because, what? Am I going to be attacking with Oberon? Part of the reason for this was to make sure I don't have to use any face cards. Although it absolutely is an all or nothing sort of situation because of Oberon's S3,
こ
but
の殻質の底に秘された対価さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる水泳にごまず
I'm debating if I want to bring Queen Sheba to level 100 next. Actually, I do have a handful at level 90, like Lakshmi Bai, the Adelante, the Altar, and the, and plus some others, but at the same time, I don't know. Still, level 100 is actually a fairly feasible goal, I think, while 120 requires a lot of coins. Like Queen Sheba, she's story locked, so she's basically just limited with a fancier name. And ones like Alante Altar or Lakshmi Bai, those are main pool 4 stars. I think I ranted over and over in the stream before about how much of a pain in the ass it was to get coins for my current and only 120 Tamamo Cat. You can absolutely tell they balanced the coin numbers on whales and the fact they'd get more of those 4 stars they know what to do with.
もったいないですね
And of course, the same is gonna apply. Even,
この殻質の底に秘され
well,
た
no
対
matter.
価さは
Good news is most depends aren't huge, but well, I guess the mana loading is huge for a handful. It's just a bit of a pain for the ones that don't have batteries.
ありがとうございます皆さんのおかげです
Yeah, having to cast less, use less skills saves a bit of time. I'm not going to be 100% action economy efficient here, just to warn everyone. Might even take a break or do something if I'm, if I need a break, I mean, like a stretch or something, but by and large, this is going to be all of tonight. I'm highly amused that not all casters have magic resistance for some reason.
運命をかけた戦いであれば白兵戦行きます今のうちに準備
さてここからだどうも
この謎を
いいとも
お買い得ですこの殻質の底に秘された対価さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる水泳にごまず先に進みましょう宴会は大勝利の後に取っておきます
Oh yeah, I guess I should mention about Decisive Battle. For those of you who play this game and aren't entirely sure what the big difference is between the new Decisive Battle and the old Plug Suit, the new one's definitely better in this because it gives a bigger variety of attack buffs and cleanses debuffs, while the old one stuns so that the enemy loses their turn. But the big thing is, while the old Plug Suit does take a very long time to level up, this one is on par with the Arctic uniform, which takes an ice age in order to level anything, so it's definitely good we're gonna be using this one a while because it's gonna take me ages to level it. What am I doing? The CE doesn't really matter. I just need 2 Castorias for the maximum buff power.
Here.
I think I mentioned during the Lost Belt 6, but I'm starting to see why the common fan theory is that the totally not Romani character is actually Godia. He looks like Romani, but he doesn't have the same demeanor or personality. But he's been following us this whole time. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Mash was grailed tonight instead of just upgrading to 5 stars entirely. I guess they wanted to stay 4 for the sake of, I don't know, lore. There.
当然とはいえ嬉しいものですね 皆さんのおかげです。
Not even half an hour and I've already gone through a couple apples. I'm making good time. Again, I'm trying to be a bit more laid back here. I'm not gonna stress out over it. And if you're wondering why my command spells are so oddly low, that's because I was using them to just pop commands. I was just popping command seals to get NPs to progress through the story quicker. It's almost like I've been looking forward to this raid for a while now. I could use a round caliber to increase her attack buff, but I'm already cleanly one-shotting Barbatos here, so I don't see a reason to do that. Kinda neat seeing all the depictions of demons. I mean, I think I've mentioned, but a lot of the demons and heroes in Fate actually do show up in SMT as well. Plus, there's been a handful in Record of Ragnarok as well. Though, granted, it does. People usually. Yeah. Control Room Barbatos. I guess for those who don't really play this game, basically the current event is a recap on the story so far. And Barbatos was one of the more popular raid fights back during the finale of the first story arc. He was popular because he had a lot of really rare drops and such, so people like to farm him in particular, which I'm guessing is why they chose him in particular as the re-fight. I really like the character's pose. The protagonist's pose for the decisive battle suit. Yeah, stuff like what you're seeing here is why they introduced multiple HP bars for regular bosses, story bosses, and not raid bosses. Well, even before raid bosses, people were one-shotting enemies meant to have over 1,000,000 HP with Gilgamesh and Skahak. So it was inevitable. A lot of people like to blame Merlin, one of the first major supporters in the game, and one of the biggest accusations of power, not accusations, the biggest poster children of power creep in the game. But for better for worse, it was one of those things that was inevitable regardless of whether Merlin was coming or not. Now, for the record, if I accidentally misclick and I need to pop the NP again, I will in fact pop a command seal, but I don't think that's going to be needed. I really should be more liberal with my use of command seals because you get one each day. You can absolutely use it to make fix a messed up farming, or if you want to speed up a story fight or something. That's why I kind of didn't hesitate to use command seal revives while I was doing the stories. Since I don't do them on consecutive days a lot of the time, they have plenty of time to regenerate. Actually, this is my first stream since Avalon LaFay, isn't it? I completely forgot. Which means a lot of people might not have been I've been wondering why my Castoria suddenly jumped and leveled. For a presumably obvious reason, I liked her so much in the story that I decided to grill mine to level 100. Kind of funny, I went in knowing, okay, this is a story that gets everyone to love Morgan, and I did like her. I mean, it's not like she was definitely one of the more interesting villains we've had, to be sure, but Castoria was the one that story really got me to connect with. And I'm just gonna say now, the fact that the upcoming Summer Castoria has that scene as her NP is nothing less than emotional blackmail, I swear. Good news, at least, is I have plenty of time to save, as well as determining exactly what I want to pull on next. I honestly don't have too many major summoning things coming up. Summer Skadoodles is the main one, honestly, because I do still want my quick team members to be in good shape. I may be a primarily arts player these days, but I still have a lot of quick servants who are favorites, so I don't want them neglected. Plus, they do have a bit of a benefit in that a lot of challenge quests disallow you from using duplicates, simply so that you can't do what I'm doing right now, and nuke fights easily with double Castoria, double Koyan Sky, or double Scotty, but since Summer Scotty counts as a different character entirely, you can bypass that. And sadly, no, Summer Castoria is actually a damage dealer, not a support, so she's not quite in the same boat. Still worth it, of course. I think I've mentioned you can never have too many Berserkers lying around. Sure, it does suck for the odd foreigner class fight, but those are extremely few and far between, and I have Mecha Ellie if I ever need something against those. People who actually, people who push for 5 stars probably also have a Melt. And like I said, it doesn't matter when I use the plug suits buff. I mean, what? Am I worried about Oberon's lack of DPS? I know some people swear by his damage, but I can at least say, if he's only MP1, he's gonna hit like a potato, I can tell you that much. Speaking of someone who's tried him out a bit, even against stuff he has class advantage over. Queen Sheba is a lot of fun, plus her NP is hilarious, so I just love those 3 creatures just punching the crap out of everything. Wow, over 1 million pillars destroyed already, and when I started there was about 666 dead. So yeah, the masters are really doing some work. Ah, Art's Brave Chain. Now that's extremely satisfying. Battle finish. Alright, I guess for anyone who does play the game, rest assured I will in fact be streaming Lost Belt 7 when it appears. It's just going to be a while before that happens if we continue going by the same schedule as the home server. Not a big deal, I've got plenty of other things to do, and as I mentioned, I do dip in and out of a lot of my mobile games in general, so I do not mind at all if I end up taking a bit of a break. Oh yeah, yeah, as you saw, I did in fact, level my Castoria to 100 here. I think she's earned it after everything she's been through. Oh, right, almost forgot. As for Queen Sheba as a character, like I said, I grailed her largely because I did like that an obscure character like, a relatively obscure character like her got in. A lot of people wouldn't even know who she is, honestly, even if they're familiar with the tale of King Solomon.
僕だってやればできるさ。椅子に座ってるだけが王様じゃないとも。
As a character, well, she's Fire Emblem's Anna, basically, and I do like her. To some level, there are mixed feelings, though, like, when Anna was first playable in Fire Emblem Awakening, I was all, huh. Basically, the closest thing FE had to a universal mascot, and, well, but I did warm up to her. I just didn't like her supports in that game, that she was basically, well, first of all, it was only with 2 people, and one of them was Robin, so the Avatar protagonist, so that meant she was a bit limited in what she could say, and since I was playing female Robin, there was no romantic support there, and I spent the entire time ripping the 2 off. Later games have had her, continue to have her have her playable, though. Usually through DLC, though. And I'm a bit iffy on that, but I guess it's within character to require her require purchases for her assistance. Still. Like I said, I think the main issue was that she just didn't have too many supports, period, and I just happened to be playing the one where she has one of her worst ones, so... It was a bit better in Fates, I can say that much. Fates actually did have... Fire Emblem Fates really did have a decent amount of good support conversations, just that... Well, with all the between mission grinding and stuff, I didn't feel nearly as much motivation to grind them all up, so I had to look up a lot online. And I imagine some would do that, except minus the looking up online part, so... I can understand why a lot of them feel really shallow. A lot of characters have gimmicks that are supposed to endear you to them to check out the supports and find out the details, but if you don't like them enough, you're not going to do that. Although I guess I can't exactly criticize them too heavily for characters relying too heavily on gimmicks when this game does it all the damn time. To the point some characters just straight up can't exist without another one around. A big example of this being Nidocris and Ozymandias, because those two just can't exist without talking about or involving the other in some fashion. Even their own interludes that are supposed to be about themselves, the other one comes in and takes a lot of screen time. Like, you'd think Ozzy, since he's supposed to be the Ramses II who met Moses, he'd discuss that, but no, it's primarily about Nidocris for his. Likewise, Nidocris is mostly about Ozzy's. I guess some characters just really have good chemistry, but they have to be able to function on their own, you know? Likewise, I admit it's pretty eye-rolling when Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla just get their AC and DC power fights going on. I guess if I needed to, I could also use my Castoria's NP to clear off the, to cleanse the attack buffs as well, because, yeah, Round Caliburn here removes all debuffs, regardless of type. Plus, it gives an attack boost, even if it's not needed. I should probably be order changing on the middle Castoria, not mine. Not a big deal either way, I guess. A funny thing, before the ability to speed up skill animations were a thing, it was pointed out by some community YouTubers that Castoria in her third ascension has a much slower animation than her first two. So a lot of people were threatening, calling out, and generally being awful to anyone with third ascension Castoria. I get it, when you're doing raids, like, look, I'm about 40 minutes in, and I've already eaten several golden apples, so I've had quite a few HP bars worth of, going through here, so each second can count if you're actually min-maxing and not just trying to have a laid-back night of farming. However, I still want to say I'd bet money that if those YouTubers hadn't mentioned it, basically no one would notice. Because, did you know that Tammo no Mai also has a longer animation for her third ascension? And before anyone says you don't use Tammo to farm, I actually did in the, Scathfest raid, where I believe this was all going on. I believe it was Skathawkfest. Because, I was using Jason for that farm. Oh, right, I have to... Wait, what am I doing? This is not going to matter because he's gonna die the NP. Whoops. But yeah, I love my level 100 Jason, but as a 1-star, even with all those grails, his biggest weakness, I'd say, is damage. So I had to plug suit in Tammo in order to boost his damage high enough to clear the raid. But you'll notice that nobody was all upset about the Tammos, even though, for many, including myself, she ended up being needed for it. And for the record, I'm not crapping on those YouTubers or anything. In fact, that information is legitimately good to know. It's just that, I guess if anything else, it's kind of funny to think about. That sort of thing no one really cares about until someone points it out, and suddenly, oh, it's common sense. Oh well, it's common sense all of a sudden. So yeah, don't take it as a condemnation, just more of a case of how things work, I guess. I know, at this point, just kind of shooting the breeze. Yeah, I guess since I've said I've been relying a lot on arts lately, someone will ask, well, are you going to go for Lady Avalon? Because Lady Avalon is also coming in the summer. And it's a possibility, but it's 900 quartz for to hit the guaranteed pity, and as you've noticed, well, I do have about a good bit over 2,500 right now, I think it was. I'll see in a moment but yeah, despite me having a decent amount, I assure you that goes away very quickly once you begin rolling. And it's also not just new servants. For some, like Vitra, I can't help but wonder if perhaps an extra NP level on her would do me better than just another vanity project or whatever. Because right now, my Vitra, since I use her as an example, she's NP2, and an NP3 would be a genuinely very high upgrade for her. Not nearly as high as 1 to 2, but definitely enough to hit a lot of thresholds she previously might have missed. Likewise, I could do the same for Koyan or Oberon, but I'm probably gonna opt not to, if we're completely honest. As you've noticed, I've pretty much got my team set up, and as nice as having Koyan or Oberon able to contribute to the fights they are supporting... yeah, oh wow, even more than I thought. Not by too much, but enough. But yeah, my point is, quartz goes away very, very quickly once you start seriously pulling for someone, and since there's only one pity rate that's at 900, and I have hit it before, by the way. Last year when I was going for Vitra's NP2, I actually got like 850 quartz in before I finally got what I was looking for. It was pretty nasty.
さて、ここからだ。どう思う？
この謎をお解きやります。負けないぞ。この唐室の底に秘された大火さは汝を測り見定める村しめとなる。クリーエニグマズ。
僕だってやればできるさ。椅子に座ってるだけが王様じゃないとも。
And I guess I'll just mention here for anyone who is curious why Queen Sheba is using her title as her true name instead of her actual name. That's because the lore of Solomon doesn't actually give her a name. There are some places that claim to be where she was from, and legends there give her a name, but the canonical material doesn't give one. And obviously the excellent. And I imagine you can understand why they'd be hesitant to use other sources. It'd be like using Dante's Divine Comedy as a source. You can, and people would understand it, but it's also not part of the main canon by technicality. And I'm sticking to these as in purely literary terms because, well, it's an easy way to handle it, I think. Alright, let's see here. No, 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 no. You know, this reminds me, actually I haven't really watched any FGO content creators in a while, or any gacha game content creators in a while, honestly. Checking some of them, I have noticed that there's been a bit of a rotation. Some have retired over the years. I guess that makes sense. The burnout for one particular game is going to be inevitable for some. I'm pretty much guaranteed that would probably happen to me if I tried to hyper-focus on one particular game. I mean, some of the streamers I watch are, in fact, purely one game, like, some of them speed run of their game of choice regularly. I admire that kind of dedication, if we're completely honest. I've mentioned before, but I'm not really big on speed running. Not that I hate it or anything, it's more... I know everyone's gonna disagree with this the moment I say it, but I do have performance anxiety with it. The kind that makes me feel like if I'm not doing a decently enough, I'm pretty much wasting everyone's time, including my own. And, again, I know that's going to be immediately contested because, well, they're correct. You don't need to do it for any kind of world record. You don't need to do it to impress anyone. You need to just do something you're satisfied with, or something that pushes you to improve. But that's just how it feels. I don't know how to put it into words. I'm sorry. If I didn't shorten... the NP animations, I believe Sheba also calls her three little genies out by name as well. They, as you can expect, they represent 3 enigmas. The NP represents the 3 riddles she gave to King Solomon. I did like the Salem story chapter, but it was a bit interesting because it was one of those stories that was basically entirely story, for honest. They barely had any fights. I personally didn't mind, since again I'm used to VNs. In fact, I've done quite a few on this channel, and I'm going to be doing more sooner or later. But I can understand some like the gameplay here. I find it okay, personally. I wouldn't say it's anything to write home about, but it's not awful either. It is nice that even after all this time I can use one of the old servants here like Queen Sheba and do very well with her. I'd say that my grills have helped out a bit, but like I said, I'm pretty sure it's Castori and Oberon carrying her. That's why this game's meta is absolutely more on the supports than the DPS, because as long as you have the supports, you can make anyone you want work, even if they're off meta or even just straight up bad. Much as I hate to say it, Tom Mocat is definitely not a very good servant. She's definitely she's a bad one. She's a launch servant, and you can a lot of those have a lot of jank because they clearly had no idea how their own game worked. But you'll still remember that I used her for pretty much the entirety of Avalon the Fae, Lost Belt 6. So the fact that I can still get her to use simply because I have the supports that allow it is a good testament to how you can make things work. Might as well get the QP up here. That's quick up. Oops. Don't need that. Easy. I like this music playing right now. It feels a little like something out of Deus Ex. I didn't forget anything, did I? No, I didn't. Yeah, I keep worrying. I'm really paranoid that I'm gonna forget my plugs buff or something. That's gonna make it really painful.
見定める身のしめとなる。フリーエニグマズ。
Case files itself, I haven't seen the entirety of. I've just seen bits and pieces. Seems pretty alright, I guess. I probably should give it a closer look, though.
やっちゃいまーす。繁盛繁盛。戦いですか。白兵戦行きます。白兵戦行きます。今のうちに準備。
うまい手を考えよう。ああ。
もったいないですね。このカラ
Two
スの
Buster
底に
2 Arts
伏され
deck
た
is
短
probably
歌
my
とは
favorite just because it gives you a bit of
汝を
everything.
測り見定める身のしめとな
But
る。
I've worked a decent bit with 2 Arts 2 Quick, which is good for generating resources at the cost of damage.
終わったかい。敵対しているものだとはいえ、倒してしまうのはちょっと忍びなかったね。
Oh, nice.
シャラララ
This was the debuff that actually matters, and it missed. Lucky for me. Yeah, that debuff he does at the start of combat is really the only remotely threatening thing he has, since that might run the risk of you not... Yeah, since that might run the risk of you losing just enough to miss the kill, but if you're properly prepared, it's not really an issue.
この夏お買い得です。
気が引けるけどね。
このカラスの底に秘された短歌さは汝を測り見定める身のしめとなる。フリーエニグマズ。今回はうまくいきました。願いましたよ。シャラララ白兵戦行きます。そうだよね。戦いですか。そうだよね。
うまい手を考えよう。どう？
出番ですよ。お買い得です。
Gonna grab a sip of my drink while I'm waiting.
このカラスの底に秘された短歌さは汝を測り見定める身のしめとなる。フリーエニグマズ。今回はうまくいきました。
Yeah, I wish I was not a complete ignoramus and wasted all my teapots before now. Ah, well. It's not a big deal. Bond really doesn't make or break you in any way, shape, or form in this game. It's just kind of nice is all, since you get some quartz and stuff out of it.
繁盛繁盛。やっちゃいまーす。
Alright, let's see.
戦いですか。今のうちに準備。白兵戦行きます。今のうちに準備。
さて、ここからだ。どう？
お買いもったいない
Honestly, if Barbatos was an archer, I'd probably be wondering if Vitra could deal enough damage on her own, since, actually, do demon players become divine? Let me look up the wiki real quick.
今回はうまくいきました。
Let's see here. Traits, where are the traits here? No, it has traits. Where are you? Well, the attribute is sky, but that's a bit of a different triangle. It does not have any traits. It's okay. I looked up another monster just to make sure I wasn't missing something, but nah. Barbatos just doesn't have any traits for some reason. Weird. Given it's specifically classified as demon god, a pillar, a Barbatos, you'd think it would count as divine or demonic or something, but I guess they didn't feel like it.
大丈夫。落ち着いて。普段通りに。
Yeah, it just counts as super large, I guess. Mildly annoying. Oh, I almost missed that arts debuff there. No, 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 no. I'm afraid I can't let that stand. I'll definitely have to take a hydration break every so often, just because we're gonna be here a while. I'd say whoops, but I don't think it matters. The one with the Mona Lisa CE will give me a bit more QP, but I'm honestly not. By the way, when we started, there were about 666 kills. Now there's only slightly under 1,400,000, so that is more than double the amount of deaths in an hour. Yeah, the masters are absolutely tearing this guy to shreds. And believe me, I started the stream only a little bit after reset when he first spawned. So yeah, people are absolutely tearing him to shreds. Sadly, I missed the Tanzaka raids because I was away on family things at the time, but my understanding is they had about the same amount of HP as Barbatos does here, so if you can't do it immediately, you have about a full day to do it. I think estimates were that it might take around 35 hours, something like that. But of course, if you're watching this VOD on YouTube, then it's been about, what, a month since the stream, so then yeah, you'll never have made it.
さて、ここからだ。どう思う？
I might not need the plug suit damage boost to win here, but I just really don't want to risk. I just don't want to take any risks. Sadly, caster servants have about 10% reduced damage overall for no other reason than they're just casters. I'm guessing this is to try and reflect the fact they're intended to be indirect combatants rather than direct combat. But the problem is Queen Sheba is directly meant to be a single target damage dealer, so that penalty basically means she's weaker for absolutely no reason. Mildly annoying, that's for certain. But as you can see, she's still cleanly clearing him. If this was in any way not a stable clear, we would have seen him survive with, well, even single-digit HP by now. But the fact he hasn't an hour in tells me that we are 100% clean clears.
うまい手を考えよう。どう思う？
この謎もっとお目が高い。このカラスの底に秘された高さは汝を測り見定める身の締めとなる。スリーエニグマズ。
終わったかい？敵対しているものだとはいえ、倒してしまうのはちょっと忍びなかったね。
Rainy's immortal buff. She has been buffed a decent bit, I guess.
お勘定なさいまし。
I just want to make a note that that I started the stream with around 660k kills on Barbatos, and yeah. It's gonna be very interesting seeing how many kills are at the end here. I don't intend to go too long, like I said, just a couple hours, 2-3 hours. I just didn't want to do anything too major tonight. I mean, I did think of doing our backpack hero, but yeah, I didn't realize that I wouldn't be able to get over the river when I made the city there, so I might be in trouble. At the same time, I split stuff up in general, so it's not a really big deal. But I won't be able to get back to it until Thursday, because tomorrow night I'm going to be doing the multiplayer stream with the guys. We're probably going to do more Lethal Company, I guess, just because that's the one thing we all play that we've been playing that everyone likes. Outriders, I'm not sure how many of us actually liked. And Remnant, at least one person wasn't really enjoying it as much as they were hoping. And Don't Starve Together, I get the sense I was the only one really liking at the end there, so yeah. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I probably don't need the plug suit attack buff to clear this, but at the same time, I don't want to remove it and then have Barbatos survive like 4 HP or something. That would really piss me off. Besides, right now it's a pretty clean 650 to 750k damage each time. Observatory. Okay, yeah, that's just Buster. That doesn't affect me.
やっちゃいます。
Basically, if it's not an arts debuff, I do not care. It probably mattered last time when I didn't have Oberon and Castoria to make everything very easy, but this is not that time anymore.
さて、ここからだ。ああ、
後期到来です。もちろん。
Whatever.
この唐室の底に秘された高さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。スリーエニグマズ。今回はうまくいきました。
Oh, excellent. Charlotte Corday got bond level. I'm just thinking a bit. Wondering what other team comps people might be using, but then I guess if we go with the meta ones, you could probably even use something. Oh, nice! She dodged the most important one. Dodge it. I guess I could take a look at the Fate Grand Order tag to see what others are doing. Yeah, I can't be surprised. Absolutely everyone is doing Barbatos raids. Oh, this Castoria is fine. Buster down is perfectly acceptable. Booster down. That should be perfectly fine. I'm actually, there's quite a few team comps that work nowadays just because, well, Oberon is an absolutely master enabler. He can make a lot of stuff that should never work, work. There's a reason he and Coin Sky were the only ones I cared about during that big run of 5 supposedly must-pull banners. In fact, honestly, if you were asking me, I'd say even Koyan is perfectly skippable. Oberon is the true winner of that set, in my opinion. But that's just me. And I'm basically a casual player, so take that with momentous grains of salt. I am not on par with the experts. Might as well push the bond a little further. Oh. Won't say no to a free ignored debuff, even if it's one I don't really care about.
熱を帯びなさい。マルミアドは要請哲学白兵戦いきます。今のうちに準備。
うまい手を考えよう。ああ、
で、お目が高い。出番ですよ。私の陣たち。
Return my legends.
この謎をお解き遊
I'd
ば
like
せ。
you to solve
お
this
かえもっ
riddle.
たいないですね。
Easy enough.
この唐室の底に秘された問いこそは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。次へにごまず。
終わったかい。敵対しているものだとはいえ、倒してしまうのはちょっと忍びなかったね。
We are officially bullying Barbatos.
繁盛繁盛。シャラララー。運命をかけた戦いであれば熱を帯びなさい。マルミアドは行きます。やだな。
うまい手を考えよう。ああ、
ことかお目が高い。この唐室の底に秘された問いこそは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。次へにごまず。
It's hilarious seeing what this NP does with these giant
当
enemies.
然とはいえ
They're basically a wall, and yet she still smacks them
皆さんの
about.
おかげです。
Let's see here.
この唐室の底に秘された問いこそは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。次へにごまず。 やっちゃいます。繁盛繁盛。要請絶毒早炊きです。カルメル白兵戦行きます。今のうちに準備。
さて、ここからだ。ああ。
Directing attacks. I don't know what that means, actually.
では、お目がたお買い得
I'm
です。
definitely directing attacks over to it, though.
この唐室の底に秘された問いこそは汝を測り見定める戒
Oh,
めとな
Paddock,
る。
welcome to the stream.
次へにごまず。
We're just, we're just bullying Barbatos here with Queen Sheba.
僕だってやればできる
Full
さ。
arts team.
椅子に座ってるだけが 王様じゃないとも。
Well, focusing on arts, really. Yeah, no, I'm not letting that debuff stand. There. I might be able to kill him even with the debuff, but I'm not going to take any risks whatsoever. Now, since I'm getting a decent amount of overkill from Sheba, this does mean I have a bit of leeway if I lose some damage somewhere, but I also don't really want to risk it and result in getting a not one-turn clear. You know, thinking about it, I'm not sure why the Merchant Servant has a high damage single target DPS. I joke that might be about the power of capitalism, but that's Mysterious Heroine XX. Since her foreigner powers are from the powers of capitalism, if I remember. Yeah, that was confirmed in the Van Gogh event. Well, Clyde Van Gogh. Because this is fate, it can't be something simple. Did some bullying of my own while I chill here. Now, by all means, sit back, relax, and that's what we're here for. I came here fully intending to bully our favorite demon god pillar for the next few hours. Let's see here, we go. Queen of Sheba is really fun. It's just a shame there's not too many assassin bosses for a single target caster to really shine against. I might have been able to do something similar with some of my others, but, well, as you can see, mine is grailed, so I'm a bit biased in Sheba's favor. Let's look at that NP animation, the way she's just making the pillar fly out everywhere. It's hilarious. Servant verse is what's not simple. Oh, Servant verse is a whole other beast. But yeah. I swear this universe will never use one explanation when a significantly more complicated one is available. Not to say it doesn't all make sense, it's just, once you go in, it's a big rabbit hole, that's for sure. Here we go. Go through here. Order change. I'm really loving the new plug suit. It's fun. Oops. There we go. Channeling power. It's just noises. Is it too noisy? I can turn down the volume a bit if it's if I need to. Yeah, I intend to use as many golden apples as I please here because I'm not the kind of person to go particularly hard on lottos. Plus, this one gives me some drops I particularly need, so it's for the best that I go all out. Forgive me, Mazda, for I must go all out this particular time. No, 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 my friend. You're not letting that. I'm not letting that buff land. Or rather, not letting it stay. Think funny rabbit hole and all. Ah, yeah, I get it. Yeah, but I have had to turn down the volume a bit on occasion. A lot of games start out surprisingly loud. And obviously I can't have it drown out my own voice. Well, I guess if you just want the game itself, but there's also long plays that don't have commentary as well. That.
出番ですよ。
Alright,
私
here we
の
go.
陣たち、もちろんお買い得です。この唐靴の底に
Missing out
伏
on
せれば
arts or brave chain feels disappointing,
何時
even
も
though,
かかり
well, with this setup I don't need any face cards, I just need the NP. I've been doing this over an hour and I've never seen it go... Actually, I think that 640k is the lowest it's ever been, so... Yeah, it's a clean kill no matter what. So it feels pretty good. Here. Might as well get the one that boosts Bond a little. Sadly, I was a complete ignoramus and accidentally used up all my teapots before this event, so... Egg on my face.
願いましてはシャラララ早炊きですカルウェル熱を帯びなさいマルミアドはできた白兵戦行きます
Oopsie. Misclicked there.
さてここからだ。ああ
Here we are.
お目が高い
See.
この唐靴
Easy
の
rerun of
底
Bond
に伏せ
farming.
れば対価する
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been using it for as well. Plus, it's nice, it's nice that enough powerful supports are out that I can use my favorite grilled servants even if they aren't particularly good. Like, my only 120 right now is Tom Mocat, who is a very janky Year 1 unit. But she was my tutorial role, carried me through Part 1, so it feels odd to not still use her. 3 fakers, 1 multi, so very nice. Oh, congrats! Yeah, my main summoning plan is going to be Summer Scotty later in the year, so I don't have to wait too much. Although I am also debating if I want to get my Vitra to NP3, because Vitra is my... Well, I'm a free-to-play player, so I don't really have that many 5 stars, let alone 5 stars at higher NPs higher than 1. But Vitra's one of them, and she's also been grailed, so I'm wondering if maybe bringing her to NP3 might not be a bad idea. She's no Melisune, but... Melusine. How do you pronounce her name again? Trunk Sisters? I have been going back and forth on the Trunk Sisters, if we're completely honest. It's just that, well, their kit seems a bit all over the place, if we're honest. It feels like they don't really know what they're trying to do exactly. But I might give it a try. When the story comes, I'll give them a try and see how I feel. When it comes to grailing servants, it's not just it's not just whether I like a character, it's not just whether they're powerful, it's a matter of do they feel good to play as, you know? Like, Sheba here really feels good to play since she's got a couple different attack buffs, self-battery, and even some nice crit damage, including some crit stars to help herself do that. So she feels really good to use, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, that's why she's at least 90. Might take her a bit further, we'll see. Osakabe Ime Assassins 4. Need another Art Saber. My Art Saber is Jason. I have a level 100 Jason, and he is absolutely hilarious. I used him during Skahak Fest, and he did not disappoint. Well, I did have to use Tammo no Mai to push his damage further, but still, he did clear it. It just took a bit of extra work compared to someone else, some other Art Sabers. Actually, fun fact, my level 100 NP5 Jason actually does out-damage Muramasa at NP1. He won't out-damage NP2 or Muramasa, though, or at least not until Jason's interlude. Which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's the Saber. Actually, I seem to favor the Knight classes in general, because I've got a bunch of Grailed Sabers. I've also been debating Saber Kosai, but ignoring her because she's still level 80, Jason and Lakshmi Bai are grailed as is. Who's the last one? Suzuka. Yeah, Suzuka Gozen. So yeah, I got one of each AoE Saber grailed. Not sure why I seem to favor the Knight classes. Because, as I said, another one I have grailed is Vitra, who is, of course, Lancer. Did 3 turns with Jason, Gong, and Asclepius. For better or for worse, I do not swear by Gong. He's really good, especially if you're actually willing to put forth the grails on him. In fact, he's low star. I mean, those were good days. It also helped that Skahak Fest also gave a damage boost to, with a higher one going to lower rarity servants. The ones like Jason and Paul Bunyan really got to shine that event. Yeah, that was really nice. I also had a pretty easy time in the Martha Lotto. I wish it wasn't just a week, but I do get it. They had to fit Tunguska in there somewhere because it had to get out before the end of the year so that they could have Koyan of Dark's banner and have people, you know, want Koyan Dark. Sadly, well, for better or for worse, I was away with family that week, so I had to miss the Koyan raids. Unfortunate, but not a big deal if we're at the end of the day. It does suck because my Vitra actually is, as mentioned, my Vitra actually is grailed, so she would have done quite a bit of work there. But life will always take priority over a game, especially a mobile game. Love Cavalry. Most of the girls went to Raiders and Casters. Sheba and Sieg are my 2 grailed casters. Oh no, actually what am I saying? You just saw my Castoria is level 102. So yeah, that's another one. What can I say? Her story in Lost Belt 6 just really connected with me, so I felt obligated to bring her to 100. Sheba's an obscure character I was surprised to see in the game, so I knew I had to show some respect there. Same with Lakshmi Bai. Lakshmi Bai is an obscure character I genuinely wouldn't have expected them to add, so of course I wanted to be sure to show her some love too. And Sieg was a big surprise, honestly. I mean, not only is Sieg fun to play as, but his writing during the Apocrypha event actually saved his character for me. Because if you had told me before that I'd be grailing him, I thought you were being silly, because he was hands down my least favorite part of Fate Apocrypha. But no, they actually gave him a real personality during that event. Not a particularly complicated one, but let's be real here. Servants have gotten incredibly popular over less. Absolutely would have brought him to 120 if he had coins. Riders are Odysseus and Sakamoto. My grailed rider is Summer... who is it? Summer Mordred, that's right. Surf Mo. Sorry, I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. I guess I'm just too... I guess I've got the raid brain rot right now. Sorry about that. But yeah, Surfer Mordred has been my farming rider since I got her instead of Lancer Tommo during the summer banner there. The Summer 1 banner. I first joined the game during Year 2's Valentine, so I had to get her technically attempted on the rerun. I was very frustrated because I got, I don't know, 700 or 700, 800 total quartz if you count the tickets along with the raw quartz I had, and no and not a single Tumble Lancer, just Surfer Mordred. But I won't say that was a waste, because, well, first of all, I did get Karna there, who lasted me a good while until I had better ones like Vitra. And most importantly, Surfer Mordred has been my main farmer for riders ever since I got her. And as you can imagine, she's only gotten better now that I got Castoria and Oberon. Because she was one of the first units genuinely designed to be a looper. So now it's extremely difficult for her to not loop. Castoria, let me put it this way, Castoria allows Jason to loop, so she makes anything with an arts card NP and a pulse loop. Odysseus is pretty cool. Well, it's a shame I come and gone a few times. Ladder Hormone Abbey dropped. Need to grail an archer, but I'm not sure who. Yeah, I was kind of lost on what kind of archer to grail for a while. I ended up liking Santa Nightingale and going with her, but I got a bit of heat for that because, well, it's generally agreed that your best bet is to just leave a Santa Nightingale at her minimum possible level, so that she can drop her buffs and die. Not actually fight, but I'd say she was decent at the very least. And yeah, it's good to come and go based on your mood rather than force yourself to log in every day. I've taken a few breaks myself, so sometimes it's best for the sanity. I also kind of hesitate to pick up other gacha games just because I know they'll take up a lot of time here. Because just logging it on a daily basis can take up a decent amount of time. Because the reason they have these login bonuses is to make you get into a routine, you know? Yeah, Nat, hold on, oh, sorry. See. I'll go ahead and hydrate while I'm waiting for the animation then. Well, thank you for the follow, Fnatic Hades. I stream just about anything on this channel, so feel free to stop by anytime something catches your attention. Ooh, CE drop, not bad. Let's see here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I guess it's good. It's good in general to be willing to take breaks, because the whole reason they have login bonuses and such is to get you into a routine of logging regularly, but it's good for your sanity. I found it's good for my sanity to just dip in and out as needed be. Yeah, I gotta get rid of that arts debuff at all costs. Well, not all costs. I just have to use my skill to remove it. Mystic Code, I mean. Plug Suit skill. Alright, there we are. Here. I'm highly amused that when I started the stream, there was only about 666 total pillars destroyed. I didn't catch that number. Let me check the next one. Let's go through here. Might as well get the bond boosting one since I'm boosting bond anyways. Yeah, almost 1,800,000 over 1,800,000 pillars destroyed in total. And it's been only like an hour and a half since I started. The masters are really folding this guy. Lost account for all the years, so didn't get a shot at the amazing servants at drop, but did get Taigong, another rider, Meilu, and Benny. The gamer's understanding. Ah, well that's good to hear then, yeah. Yeah, I've taken some breaks some months at a time. Sometimes I miss out on some servants, but I've got pretty much every major class covered, including most extras, so I think I can afford to slack a bit just to make. Besides, I'm having more fun using ones like Sheba here than if I was, say, using, what, Summer Kama? Or Melusine, the Lancer version. I do know some pretty big ones are coming out in the future, but sad about Summer Kama. Yeah, there were a lot of banners there, so I tried to prioritize and only got Oberon and Koyan Sky. I ignored the others, even though I knew they were genuinely great. One thing I tell myself to try and... Whenever a powerful servant drops, I usually tell myself there will always be stronger servants in order to keep myself from being tempted. Because I do stay free to play on this game. But the temptation's absolutely there, so you gotta be careful. And they do mean for that temptation to be there. They absolutely want you to break and wail. Oh yeah, Arts is a lot of fun. There's a reason I'm using it right now. Although I guess it helps that, it helps Queen Sheba's the best I have for this particular raid. Being a grailed single-target caster and all that. And as mentioned with the, Summer Mordred, there's a few that I can farm rather well. The only one I had issues getting anyone that felt fun was Assassin. None of the assassins felt good to use, if we're completely blunt. Until finally I found Kichi Hogan, and she's been a lot more fun. Yeah, I can understand that. Collections can be really nice. I mean, I know someone who collects the Knights of the Round, so... And another who collects all the foxes. And fox adjacent. Sometimes you just need to go with the theme that just feels best for you. Assassin combo with Taigong is fun. I don't remember off the top of my head what Taigong actually does, but hey, if it works, it works. I know Assassin Kama remains the strongest assassin in the entire game, even in the home server right now, so she's definitely got some good staying power. And that says a lot, since a lot of quick units are considered to be in an awkward spot. That's also kind of a big reason why I want Summer Scotty along with my regular Scotty, because that does a lot for them. I use Fate as a source to research and learn my culture and history. Well, it shouldn't be the only source, but I know what you mean, yeah. As a big SMT fan, I'm the kind of person who has, in the past, spent hours just reading the... what's it called? The demon... whatever the demon log is, I keep, forgetting the action... I'm blanking out right now, I guess the raid brain rot's, sinking in. But yeah, basically it keeps, track of all the demons you've summoned or fused and whatever, and it tells you a bit about their history and stuff, and that's been a big reason No, like I said, I've spent hours just going through that Pokedex of demons to check them all out and just see what kind of interesting stuff is there. And that's probably a reason I was able to get into Fate rather easily as well, because a lot of S&T demons are also in this series. In fact, even Vitra herself is also in S&T, for one example. How many apples did I start with? 270? Not only, of course, but it does bring some people. Yeah, and like I said, whenever one that I know is obscure shows up in one of these games, that's always a time to celebrate. Hence why ones like Lakshmi Bai and Queen Sheba being nice additions. Granted, I wish they'd kind of buff Lakshmi Bai. You can absolutely tell she came during the middle of the Scotty era because she's a quick servant with a ton of restrictions, limitations, and nerfs. Just because they were horrified at the concept of looping back then. Obviously, they simply gave up on that after a point, but they didn't buff any of the ones in between. And sadly, since she's a 4-star, I genuinely don't expect them to do anything about it. They do for 5 stars, especially since almost all of them in this game are limited because, you know, FGO. Just got a book on Aztec stuff. Ooh, sounds neat. Yeah. Without spoiling for others who've been watching, I was hoping that Lost Belt 7 would go into some South American stuff like Inca or Brazil, or Chile, but a bit disappointed there, but oh well. I haven't looked up the story too much so that I can mostly be fresh when I stream the story when it comes out later this year, but I've heard it's pretty good. Not Lost Belt 6 tier, but well, I think Lost Belt 6 was a special case, so I'm willing to count as an outlier and let it appreciate it for what it is if it's still good. Actually, I think it's interesting the skills and like the reasoning behind it. Yeah. Like I said, I really like that they put such an obscure historical figure into the game, even if they did mostly make her similar to Jeanne d'Arc because of her pop culture comparison. They still at least gave her own nice little personality. But granted, I'm not a fan of her clumsiness gimmick. I'm glad they haven't been pushing it too hard when she cameos in events, but I honestly think they were expecting her to be more popular than she actually ended up, if we're honest. I get the sense they were hoping to add her along with the other Jean's sisters, but she's largely been her own person, although I'm honestly kind of glad that ended up being the case, if only because it lets her stand out on her own more. I'm not a fan of how some like Ozzy and Nitto are kind of glued to each other at the hip. I know a lot of people like it, so no hate if you happen to like it. I just wish we'd get some of the two separated on occasion. Let them be themselves rather than connected together. Same with Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison there. Being fused, the god of misfortune, it makes sense. Yeah, I know what you mean. And even the reason for it actually does make a decent amount of sense. Feels satisfying to use these Arts Brave chains, even though I don't need any face cards here whatsoever. No, I think this is a bit of a hot take, but I actually did mostly like Lost Belt 3. I think it was mostly just rushed at the end. And well, I think a lot of people agree there, so that's not the hot take part. I liked what Lost Belt 3 was going for and all that. I just think the time limit restrained there, which is kind of funny. Lost Belt 6 is great, but we also have to remember that Nasu, who had the entire story delayed several months so that he could finish, and none of the others were given that. Now I get why, I mean, series creator privileges and all that, but I do think quite a few might have been really benefited if they didn't have to rush the end. I still like Lost Belt 1 a lot too. In fact, if they were to make an animated adaptation like they did Babylon for Lost Belt, I think 1 might be a good one just because it has, first of all, it establishes what's going on, what's at stake, how things work, and even has some really memorable scenes such as the kaiju fight, while also having the moral ambiguity with all the war between the Yagas and the bird people, I forget the name of it. Lost Belt 2 wasn't too bad either. Scotty to date, I believe, is the... Yeah, Lost Belt 3 is pretty good. I like all of it right until the end, because like I said, you can tell it's rushed. Like, I think, I get by the end, you and her partner were pretty much running on fumes when they were fighting us, because after fighting so much, they were already really weakened. But the mechanics didn't really mention anything that. Oh yeah, the Lost Belt 3 had a lot of good story moments. I still remember Spartacus having that Iron Giant style scene. It really emotionally landed. That said, I really wish Morgan would stop showing up in these and then not doing anything, because I keep forgetting she was even in Lost Belt 3. Not Morgan, Mordred. Yeah, Raid Brain Rot has hit hard. Yeah. Mordred keeps appearing in a lot of story chapters, but then not actually doing anything, which is a bit disappointing. They can do a lot with her, but then they don't. Oh well, at least Red Hair and, actually, even Chen Gong got a decent amount of screen time there, despite not actually fighting at any point, because, well, his battle sprites and stuff weren't ready, so they couldn't have him actually fight. They just made an excuse why he couldn't. Yeah, let's go through it. And of course, and of course, QSH was a pretty good villain here, making a seeming paradise until you realize he's actually quite paranoid. Sure, he bans arts and stuff, but is perfectly fine with it as long as it's about him. Considers himself above humanity, and yet to fail to consider quite a few things here. Oh, oops. Alright, that's good enough. I shouldn't be too picky with the Castorias I pick. Oh yeah, Atlantis is definitely a favorite. It was definitely the one that secured that, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting Jason. And I don't regret getting Jason up there. And Lost Belt. And of course the Olympus one afterward. I keep losing my place. Sorry about that. It did like a number of the things with Olympus, although you can tell there was definitely some rewrites about the 5th Lost Belt around. I mean, first of all, an obvious part is that Europa had her banner with Atlantis when she wasn't even in there. I think we just barely see her at the end saying something with Zeus to hint towards Olympus there. And, Faustus, was it? The blacksmith? Yeah. The end of Atlantis had him hint that he chose not to side with humanity in Olympus. It's like the version of him that was in Atlantis, but when we get to Olympus, he's all, oh yeah, I'm on humanity's side the whole time. So I can definitely tell there were a few hiccups along the way, but definitely no deal breakers. And of course, I was genuinely sad with what happened with, oh, poor Data Lost. I miss her. But at the same time, I do appreciate that they've stuck with her being a Data Lost. Freak spot? Yeah, I know what you mean. They hit a lot of really neat stuff there. That said, I'm kind of surprised they made Demeter look like she was way younger than Aphrodite. Whoops. Then again, I guess I believe I just finished playing Hades around that time, and I liked Demeter there being depicted as a badass granny.
願いましたよ繁盛繁盛白兵戦行きますそうだね無謀戦準備白兵戦行きます
But yeah, I would definitely roll for Demeter even if she did kick my ass several times to the moon during the boss fight there. Aphrodite I'd be okay with as well. And I honestly think it's a travesty we haven't had Zeus yet.
このカラスの底に秘された太鼓さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる水泳にごまず
Yeah, poor Zeus.
僕だってやればできるさ椅子に座ってるだけが王様じゃないとも
I did like the chaos scene, but like I said, I hope they stick with the Day of Lost, but the oddly specific buff that Musashi got for no reason seems to hint that they might bring her back. Part of me is kind of expecting it, if we're honest, but I wish they didn't, just because, well, the whole point of her sacrifice is that she can't come back. It was more final than usual. So if they undo that, it ceases to be all that great of a scene. But like I said, it's a rather odd how specific her buff was, so I think we're gonna be seeing her again. And I'm not one of those people who dislikes Musashi, it's just... It'd be funny if Poseidon showed up. Yeah, we only really see Poseidon in Atlantis after he's basically been reduced to just a mindless machine. He doesn't really have any autonomy or anything, he just follows his instructions like a computer program, which I get it, he is, but all the others had personality. He really didn't together. Sheesh. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Greek gods, more Greek gods showing up, but at the same time, I think they know that if they start going with too many, it'll start taking a lot of stuff from the others, and there's a lot of options they can go through, so it's best not to focus too heavily on one or the other. Granted, they have several events like Guda Guda dedicated to Japanese history, but, well, it's a Japanese game, it only makes sense they'd want to appeal to their home. And Odie just freak out. I know what you mean. Yeah, I did like Odysseus as a character, both in Atlantis and in the Shirshi event later on. I didn't roll for him, but I definitely would build him if he comes. And I believe he's comes home, and he is main pool, so he theoretically can come at any time. Him and Achilles are definitely the 5 stars that I'm not specifically going for, but would quite like to show up at some point, because I definitely use them if given the option. I'm also kind of surprised that Patroclus hasn't shown up. I mean, Achilles mentions him a few times. The two are pretty inseparable, and as we've discussed, the series seems to really love the 2 servants joined at the hip. I had so much single ticket. Oh, you lucky SOB. But congrats, yeah. I would never risk a ticket on story, that's for sure, unless I've given a good reason. Then again, I guess I can't lie and say I haven't done that before. Largely before remembering why I usually don't. Wonder if we'll ever get Ajax. We already have his NPs throughout Emiya, so I'm kind of surprised myself, honestly. Then again, there's a lot of servants I'm kind of surprised haven't shown up yet, so they're probably trying to make... If I had to guess, they probably don't want to exhaust all the obvious options. Ooh, nice. Madricardo would bond up. Because I know Achilles wasn't actually in for quite a while. Like, Achilles did cameo during young Alexander's interlude, but he actually didn't show up until quite a few years after launch, during the Apocrypha event. Oh yeah, there's a lot of ones from that pantheon, or the, actually the Three Kingdoms era has a lot of servant potential. I'm also kind of surprised there aren't too many Vikings there, but right now, Eric Bloodaxe is the only one. But at the same time, it's possible the creators just aren't that familiar with Viking lore and Norse stuff, so if that's the case, I can understand their hesitation. I mean, even in the Nordic Lost Belt, it was pretty much all about Skadi, and even then, Skadi was made to be, well, basically a reskinned Skahaka for Blunt. I mean, yeah, no, you could argue, hey, Satonai was there, and she also had Freya and such in her. To which I say, no. No, Satonai is Ilya, no matter what the game keeps saying. Unless you're gonna sit there and say Satonai has a connection to Hercules. Yeah, well, they're the same one. The same person. Huh, yeah, but yeah. Herc showed up and was a big deal for Satonai, and that only matters if we're counting her as Ilya. They do sadly have a habit of doing that sometimes. Take you with high servants. And they can make whatever excuses they want if we're honest. I mean, for a bunch of the gods that are supposedly too strong to become servants, they simply willingly weaken themselves to be summoned, if I remember right. Oh, actually a good one's probably Merlin himself, because Merlin, since he hasn't died in any timeline, the Merlin we summon is basically just him sending an illusion to pretend to be a servant. So they can pull a lot of BS if they want someone to be summonable. Oh, no, I can't forget Oberon's skills. There we are. That was close. Odin, cough, cough. Yeah, I know what you mean there. Odin's kind of like Zeus in that they can do an awful lot with him. Granted, at least Zeus has an appearance and general design they can use if they were to change their mind and make it summonable. Odin, I don't think we've ever actually seen. Actually, let me, while I'm doing this, let me... no, I'm talking about the Fate franchise, not the Odin Fate fight from Final Fantasy XIV, Google. Okay, type Moon, Odin. Okay, yeah. Odin is only ever seen in silhouette. We have never seen him in full view like we have Zeus. So the good news is they can adjust things if they want. Or I want Loki, if any Norse god, or his children. Ooh. Yeah, Loki's a really good one because he gives them a lot of freedom to play around with due to his nature. They could even gender swap him and it would be 100% lore accurate. Because indeed, Loki has been female on multiple occasions and had children as well, so... If they're really scared about not having someone to make a waifu, well, Loki can be a canonical waifu. Loki can canonically be a waifu. Turns into a horse. Indeed. Man, could you imagine an NP like that? Turn into a horse and just kick the enemy. Or maybe pull a red hair. I know Thor is also a popular requested one. And I think he might be another case of, well, he's an extremely obvious one they want to save for later. Because again, you don't want the big heavy hitters out too early or you'll start running low later. The easiest one for Loki would just be Levitain, since that's his wand or sword. Or they could do something creative, because an NP can be just about anything, as long as it has a conceptual power to it. It could even be something like Power of Trickery or something if they wanted to just be silly. Although that does remind me, I guess we could technically count, yeah, we could count Surtur as another major character who is sadly not playable yet. Ragnarok is also a good one, yeah, because, really, although that could be Fenrir's, but Fenrir doesn't seem to be a particularly powerful servant, since they only appeared in one place and were given a silver card, which implies low stars. Not sure why Fenrir would be weak when it canonically defeats Odin, but whatever. I guess they could argue it's a conceptual advantage rather than being actually stronger than Odin. Some servants are usually pretty good at giving conceptual advantages without being just straight up, you can't touch this guy. Only a handful are you can't touch this if you aren't at least equal or greater in power. And ones like those being ones like Gil and Karn, and well, I'm gonna be blunt here, Gil is one of the biggest jobbers in the series to get his ass kicked and establish, oh man, that villain must really be powerful. He kicked Gil's ass. I guess that's one of the dangers of being one of the top tier servants. You need to have power to back it up, but that also means that you losing establishes just how powerful the enemy has to be. Not only like Gil, but even I feel sad for the guy sometimes with how often he gets his ass kicked. Although I will say I like Caster Gil a lot more, which I guess makes sense. I mean, even he'd agree about his archer self being a complete and utter prick. Well, I guess it's just part of growing up to do stuff in your youth that you'll regret when you grow older. I know I've done such things. Like being new doggo boy and have him skill like King Protea where every turn he gets an attack buff. Could be neat. Though it does remind me I'm really bad at stall teams. My best bet is doing pretty much what I'm doing here. Just nuke the crap out of everything and hope it works. Is there a lore reason why King Arthur is an anime girl? Oh, I see. I have no idea how I'm able to read that backwards. Since you pro that backwards, I'm assuming you're saying that as a meme, but I guess for anyone who watches this VOD and is actually curious, a large thing about Fate Stay Night was to push the idea that the legends are more insane than we actually thought they were. So a lot of the characters had some extra traits that they weren't exactly known for, but were canon to the Fate universe. Is there a lore reason for why I used FGO Ereshkigal for my school project? Am I? Yeah. I've seen people mention doing history projects and including the Fate version of the character with it. As long as you acknowledge that it's a pop culture version of the character that actually happened. I don't think it's a problem as long as you make it clear this is a pop culture interpretation of the character and not meant to be 100% accurate. Because how these characters are interpreted in pop culture is definitely pretty noteworthy. It's just like as noteworthy as their legends, I personally think. I just ran out of real Eshko photos. Yeah, I'd still say, like I said, as long as you acknowledge that it's a pop culture version of her, I don't think there should be a problem with that. I mean, I know one person in the post did a project they did for school about Nero and established and used Fate Nero as an example of pop culture interpretation. I want Dante. DMC. Fate Grand Order, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Well, like I said, one of the things I like about Fate is a lot of the demons from I enjoyed using an SM tier here, so Dante being yet another would certainly fit that theme. We're a couple hours into the stream, and when I started, only about 666,000 pillars have been destroyed, but now over 2,200,000 have been destroyed. Dang, our masters are doing good work. I'm starting to think I probably want to, if I'm gonna grail someone to 100, I might want to upgrade one of my ones that are already grailed to 90. I don't have too many 5 stars since I'm a free-to-play player, so I rely a lot on welfares and other 4 stars, and they are mostly good. What's some other cultures history would be nice to see? Well, I did mention I was hoping for some Incan, for an Incan servant. Admittedly, I first started looking into them because of Civilization, because Civ 5 had one that I liked playing as a good bit. That being King Pachacuti. I'm pretty sure I butchered that pronunciation, I apologize. Alright, let's see here. If we talk mainstream stuff, then I agree that I genuinely like to see what they do with their interpretation of Loki, just because they have a lot of freedom with what they could do with him. I would also like to see a non-Skahak Scotty, but I'm willing to guess that as far as, if you were to ask the FGO devs, they'd say that Skahak Scotty is as much Scotty as just Skahak, so I doubt we're going to see them separate. Yeah, well, I do like that Scotty was the first villain that was actually willing to sit down and actually, you know, talk out our problems with us. I can't help but notice with his last house of strength, that Odin gave all the authority to Scotty and turned her into Skahak. To hide her from sort of something. But yeah, that's definitely a case of Odin could have done anything with his last ounce of strength, and he made sure she would be a more marketable version. Oh well. I try to keep my Scotty in her 3rd ascension because that one looks the least like Skahak, And so I'm assuming that's supposed to be the one most like Scotty. I do like her as a character, and I don't hate Skahawk, don't get me wrong, it's just, sometimes they just really like to push her as a Skahawk alt, forgetting that she is a Scotty.
さてここからだ。ああ、
後期到来です。負けないぞ。もったいないです
Yes, we
ね。
are.
この唐室の底に秘された大火さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。フリーエニグマズ。
See here. I think we got another Orion where God hides in Saint Graph. We've already had a few cases of characters hiding in another completely unrelated person's Saint Graph. The big one being, that comes to mind being Van Gogh is actually the nymph Clyde using Van Gogh's Saint Graph. Honestly, when we first learned about her, I thought maybe she was Vincent's sister because Vincent's sister was also a Van Gogh who suffered from some similar problems as him. And that would be cool. That'd be another Hakosai situation, but they went a completely different direction because, if I'm gonna be honest, I get the sense Nasu's kind of like the Danganronpa creator in that they prioritize surprise the players over make coherent story sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I do love Danganronpa, but you can definitely tell some plot twists are there purely to make sure nobody could possibly have guessed them beforehand. Well, not all plot twists are gonna be winners. Plus, I can't exactly say I'm innocent of really weird decisions sometimes. Danganronpa's my V3 is actually my favorite of the trilogy because of the gameplay. Well, that's a bit weird to say. A blatant murder mystery VN, and yet the gameplay is what makes me like it more than the others. But I stand by it. They did a lot of really nice stuff, the non-stop debates, the minigames were far less frustrating than they ever were before. Oh, I definitely like the split opinion minigame in particular. I mean, story-wise, it was often pretty filler, but it was just so much fun and having the two sides there and you match up the arguments. Oh, plus I will say, one nice thing about Danganronpa V3 is they corrected the puzzles from the second game that were a case of, well, that's just silly. Like, if you played Danganronpa 2, you might remember the swimsuit puzzle. That was one that I genuinely don't know how anyone was supposed to guess that, because the only clue was, oh, they used an unconventional weapon. But there's a difference between an unconventional weapon and complete bonkers thing. That and the on the meat bone puzzle, but that one I think is more a case of the translation being poor, and they didn't realize is because all the other phrases were very clearly, okay, there's only one that works. And I imagine they took that mistake and paid attention to V3 to be sure that didn't happen again, because again, in V3, the final arguments only ever had one clear way you could phrase it that would make any sense. So I think that might be a fault of the translation more than the game itself, so I'm not going to count it. As bad. No, it's nowhere as bad as the swimsuit puzzle. I guess when it comes to murder mysteries, I consider it good if the reason I get stumped is because well, actually, let me put it this way. If I discover the solution and I slap my head, I'm all, oh, of course, why didn't I see that? That's a good puzzle. If I find the solution and I start thinking, if I complete a puzzle and my immediate thought is, how the hell was anyone supposed to guess that? I consider that a weaker puzzle, and it's not satisfying. Do we have servants from African or only history? I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, there's the Egyptian ones, but a lot of people seem to forget Egypt is part of Africa. I know there's plenty of material if they wanted to go down that route. It also depends how recent they're willing to go, because there's a handful they could do if they're worried going too... if they don't feel confident in going too far back. Let's see here. Because I know Civilizations used a bunch over the years, they could probably use... which I know sounds silly, but hey, a lot of the Civilization leaders are already in the game as servants. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't know off the top of my head about that one. Sorry about that. I don't know too many of them myself, unfortunately. There's only... Okay, so might need to ask. I might have to look that up afterward, actually. If they wanted to meme, they could go for the, any president would be a separate servant outside of Edison. Yeah, I think Edison was mostly all of them because they weren't exactly sure which ones would be standout or not. If I personally would choose, the most notable ones would probably be either Washington for being the first one, or Lincoln for being during the American Civil War, since those are the, notable ones in particular. I don't think they've ever said it's impossible for the ones inside Edison to ever show up in the future, just that he was supposed to cover them because, well, he debuted during the American Singularity storyline, so they wanted to... Actually, now that I think about it, I guess whenever they want an area represented, they kind of feed all the notable characters from that area into the leader. I mean, Zeus ate basically all the other Greek gods when they wanted to have the Greek pantheon present, but only had the sprites and stuff for a handful of them. And Arjuna alterate all the others so that they could have the Hindu pantheon in India, but only really had one to represent. Although I guess they didn't do... Yeah, and Scotty was given the power of the other Norse gods, but they only had a handful that could actually show up in the story. I probably shouldn't really... I really shouldn't be paying as much attention as I am to the face cards, because I am clearly winning without any face cards. I mean, it's been 2.5 hours, and I'm winning without a single... This is just so strange to me. I get why, but still odd. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest and say I'm kind of surprised they chose Edison for that, of all people. Again, they probably aren't going to be as well-versed in American history as Americans are, but I thought ones like Benjamin Franklin were a lot more well-known than someone like Thomas Edison. Well, the creativity here is definitely a blessing and a curse. Although I will say, there's definitely a big difference between a servant with historically inaccurate information on purpose, like as in they purposefully change the details to make it fit the story, which is definitely the case with Edison there, with Edison and his character. It's a bit different when they do it by accident, and like how well, for one thing, how the Aztec ex-servants keep referring to themselves as South American. That's Central or Mesoamerica, but they keep always saying, oh yeah, I'm South American, or we only did this in South America.
汝を計り見定める戒めとなる
Alfred Hitchcock.
家に組まず
I'd be surprised that most knew who he was, other than the fact his name was the largest on the Declaration of Independence. And like I said, I doubt they're particularly well-versed in American history, so any that gets chosen would have to be one that's more well-known, which is why I was thinking, because I know Benjamin Franklin did make a name for himself across Europe as well as the United States. In fact, he was the one who primarily did the negotiations to convince ones like France to help bankroll the American Revolution. Apparently he did a damn good job, too. He managed to convince Louis XVI to help fund the revolution, without Louis realizing he promised to offer help without anything in return except spite Britain. Either that, or I guess he was just really wanting to spite Britain that badly. Given the era of France that took place in, I guess, well, I wouldn't know as well as someone who was actually, researched it, so perhaps it shouldn't matter. Perhaps my guesses shouldn't be relevant. I shouldn't be giving as much care as I am to the, but it's just so much more cathartic when I'm making a brave chain or an arts chain. Ooh, or an arts brave chain. Nice for fans to think about it and have fan-made stuff. That's true, yeah. I will definitely give Nasser credit. He's pretty good at making things a base world and concept over hard rules. Because the Fate universe is really, really good at bending rules and pulling technicalities. After having finally played tabletop shenanigans for a year, I'm starting to wonder if he himself has ever played, because he's certainly good at pulling technical interpretations of rules and phrases and stuff. I'm gonna have to spoil the big thing of Stay Night, but one of the things that I really did like about that story was the twist that because servants are technically copies and not the original, nothing stops them from being summoned in the very time and place where they were still alive. That was really neat. It's a concept that's continued going forward too. They've even mentioned it as a possibility in FGO story, although I don't think it's actually cropped up yet. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, I shouldn't be giving this much care of the face cards, but it's just so cathartic to see the brave chain. And yeah, the fact that we have the rules mostly figured out, and the world's rules and all that, like how mystery increases magic and stuff. But that makes it easy to work your own stuff in there if you work around it if you wanted. I don't think there's an official Fate tabletop thing, but I imagine it'd be easy to make one if you were so inclined, just because the rules and stuff are there. I mean, my sorcerer and my Pathfinder game I'm playing right now, Oa uses her spells in a language that most won't know. Mystery doesn't give power in Pathfinder, but it does mean that most enemies won't know what she's casting until it blasts the crap out of them. But in Fate, they usually use it in foreign languages because it adds to the mystery and by extension its power. Become self-insert servant. It can be fun thinking of what kind of powers you want to have yourself as a servant. Now, I know the rules, I know they have a bunch of stuff that says why modern people aren't less likely to show up as servants, but I'm pretty sure the real reason is because they'd start running into copyright or image issues like that. Like, I'm sure a caster Stan Lee would be possible, but the Stan Lee estate is still around. So they might not like him being interpreted as an anime waifu or husbando. Though I guess Stanley himself probably would find it more amusing than anything. From what I understand about him, he's pretty easygoing, so he'd probably just laugh it off and move on. I don't think he'd be bothered by it. Though I guess, that would vary from person to person.
繁盛繁盛。やだよね。右足準備。はい、ですか。右足準備。
Yeah. Lucky for us, some of them, like Sherlock Holmes, are public domain, so they don't have to worry about it because, well, the Doyle estate is known for being very slapping people with copyright. They can only do that under very specific conditions because the original books are 100% public domain, much like how Disney can no longer go after Steamboat Willie Mickey anymore because that's public domain now as well.
出番です。もっとお買い得です。
So Fate gets a free pass because Sherlock Holmes in a completely new setting and situation. Works for me, honestly. Sherlock Holmes is actually one of the reasons I started this game in the first place, upon finding out he's a playable servant. I still have him. Grail to 100, full gold foes and everything. He's not used too much, but that's also because it's a little difficult to use him. Tom Mocat is a very janky servant, but she's at least an AoE and therefore is easy to use in a lot of farming comps, especially since she's a Zerk and therefore works against damn near everything. Sherlock is a bit specialized, even if you are just using him in the places you're meant to. Still, one guy on YouTube posts nothing but Sherlock Holmes solos of major bosses, so I guess he's still fine if I ever want to use him. Yeah. There's a reason Sherlock represents the very concept of being a detective. Oh, I do like plenty of other famous detectives other than Sherlock. I've been watching a lot of Inspector Poirot lately, for example, and I believe he's an Agatha Christie character. And of course, I do lots of, as I mentioned, I do a lot of murder mystery VNs on the channel. I did Tyrant Cuthbert a while ago. Really good Ace Attorney adjacent game. I recommend it. If anyone has seen this, hasn't played it. Or is the reason he could be summoned again? Let's see here. It's because in the Fate universe, Sherlock Holmes was an actual person, and Arthur Conan Doyle was simply recording his adventures in story form, so he could be summoned. We do know there's still a mystery around him, though, which we aren't 100% sure about. But yeah. Moriarty, in his interlude, asks you... basically pulls the old, Captain Jack Sparrow thing, being all, oh, I'm a dishonest person. You can always trust a dishonest person to be dishonest. It's the honest ones you gotta work out for, because you never know when they'll do something stupid. But Sherlock gave a retort to that in his own interlude. For the moment, I see no reason not to trust him. We'll have to see how that goes. And I say that because constantly being paranoid looking over our shoulder when we don't specifically have a reason to do so just wastes a lot of time and focus. So... it's definitely one of those bridges better crossed when you actually reach it, or at least that's my opinion. Yeah, there definitely is something up with Sherlock in this, or at least the NPC version in this game, because he says he was forced into a ruler to keep for its restrictions so that he can't just reveal all mystery and all that, but I think there's a bit more to it. I mean, even when we talked about things not related to discovering the mysteries of magic and such, he still refuses to give information unless he's absolutely certain, or if it's sensitive information that he can't give out yet. So if, you know, revealing all mystery and removing magic was a problem, he wouldn't do it. There's definitely something we need to figure out still. Oops. Heart's Brave Chain. Incredibly cathartic.
この空筒の底に秘された大火さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。フリーエニグマズ。
終わったかい。敵対しているものだとはいえ、倒してしまうのはちょっと忍びなかったね。
Alright, let's see here. Oh yeah, Sherlock's interlude also confirmed he did actually know Helena when she was alive, but apparently she doesn't remember it even in servant form. It'd be cool to have more servants like Voyager. Love it could be a servant. Fuse of the driver. Yeah, I do think Voyager was one of the more creative servant ideas. Also means you can make V'ger references if you've seen the first Star Trek movie. Cathartic, satisfying. Alright, there we go.
この空筒の底に秘された大火さは汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。フリーエニグマズ。
That said, I'm a bit iffy on Eris being the child of a human and a servant because that strikes me as one of those doors that should never have been opened because that potentially gives a lot of merit to people actually hooking up with their wife who's in having a whole family and stuff, and I'm not sure that was a particularly good idea. But it's NASA's universe and his choice. I'm just not a fan of
落ち着いて普段通りに。シャラララやっちゃいます。
Yeah, Sheba's interlude isn't here that gives her the battery yet, sadly. But it'll come in time. Hopefully they'll buff Adelante on her altar, but the former was a Scotty Looper servant, so they're probably really upset and don't want to buff her in any way. And don't know about the ladder though. The ladder already did get a buff, but I don't know. I guess a crit Zerk is fine. It is fun to use. I did in fact use her during Lost Belt 6, so it's not like she's nearly as lacking. I mean, she actually deals damage, unlike her archer form. That's something she's got going for her. I think the logic between Adelante Archer was that she has low damage but creates enough stars that she can guarantee crits regularly, but that base attack is such a pain to work with. Yeah, I also believe, yeah, if I remember the testing, if I remember the discussions that were going on prior to the raid, I think Atlanta Altar is actually one of the people I could have used to complete this raid as well. I'm just using this one because I feel a bit more confident in my arts team than quick team. Well, especially largely since my Sheba is actually NP5, as you can see. My Adelante altar is NP2, which actually is perfectly workable for this raid, especially if you're using Oberon like I would be. I just figure it'd be better to go with the higher NP one and make sure it's a smooth clear from start to finish. Okay, Noah, Nemo is another game. Nemo Noah is from FGO Arcade. And he was not in the arcade crossover that dropped on the home server, so I'm afraid I wouldn't get your hopes up.
お目が高い。このカラスの底に
Unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. I guess they wanted to have some servers exclusive to one game and one exclusive to another, so that you have reason to play both, rather than having people choose one or the other and sticking to it religiously. Ooh, rainbow chest. That means... Yep, CE. No, you're going. Get that out of here. Grand servants are an interesting concept. Yeah, Grand Order revealing the origin of the servant concept in general and introducing Grands was actually kind of was definitely an interesting idea. But they've still yet to clarify exactly what kind of requirements they are and all that. I mean, I've run into a lot of people who think there can only be one of any particular Grand at a time. And others think it's just like the regular servants, just with a bit more strict requirements. I mean, all we know is that Merlin qualified because of his clairvoyance, but if clairvoyance is all you need, then why wouldn't Queen of Sheba qualify? Because that's entirely her gimmick. Orion says as he got his because he's hunted all animals that exist, but if that's the case, wouldn't Adelante also qualify or something like that? Not to mention, they never really clarify what it is when he used his grand title to attack Artemis, for example. I mean, I get the point is that he was using it as a boost of energy, but... I mean, I can't exactly throw my job title at someone to increase the strength of my punch. Assassin, no. From our understanding, First Hassan is the only one who qualified for Grand Assassin for whatever reason, and he gave up the title purely so that he could be summoned by the player character as a regular servant. But he did need its power in order to inflict the concept of death onto Tiamat, however you pronounce it. Like with Godia, her name is one of those, Tiamat's name is one of those words that changes pronunciation every time I see it, I swear. Ooh, nice. On 7. Sure hit him. Do. Yeah, Oberon's definitely been a bigger game changer for me than Koyan, I can say that much. Not because Koyan's bad, it's just, I guess I've just always had a stronger arts team and quick team than Buster.
おったかい。敵対しているものだとはいえ、倒してしまうのはちょっと忍びなかったね。
繁盛繁盛願いましたよ。白兵戦行きます。戦いですか。
Couldn't some assassins qualify if they did? I don't know. 100 assassins may be caught. Maybe because most are evil and counterforce seems anything else would be dangerous. First Hassan is lawful evil, actually. Most assassins are lawful evil since most of them are Hassans who follow a strict code of rules, and evil because, well, assassination is nominally an evil class, an evil thing to do. Even if it's theoretically for a greater good, it's usually classified as evil. That's still playing the tabletop rules I was playing as well. I don't know if that's normal though. As I mentioned, this is the first game I've ever played, so I only barely know what's going on, if we're honest. Big D&D guy. I honestly had a lot of interest in tabletop things for years, but I was always scared to join under the worry that I'd just make the experience worse for everyone, so I'd constantly be asking exactly what's going on. The one I'm playing right now, well, first of all, it's a Pathfinder First Edition campaign, because that's what our GM specializes in specifically. And I only agreed to it because I already have a couple friends involved with it. And also there's another new player, so they already have to do a lot of tutorial stuff, so I decided why not. Definitely glad I did, absolutely. As for other versions, I'll be honest, I'm not exactly loyal to any particular rule set. It's just a matter of, well, what gets the job done, I guess. As of February, it'll have been 1 year since our campaign started, although we're getting close to the end now. Oh, nice. So, it's been a... Very good. Do we know Grand Berserker? Yes, we do, but it's a spoiler. So one I sadly could not avoid, but I'd rather be respectful and not spoil it for anyone here if it's unfamiliar. Sadly, some spoilers, even for Lost Belt 6, I genuinely could not avoid prior. I don't really read up on anything with the future storylines, just to try and be as fresh as possible, but for stuff like Oberon's true identity, that sort of thing, I couldn't avoid it, unfortunately. Still, it was a very engaging story, and as I mentioned, it made me like Castoria enough I decided to bring her to 100 just for that alone, so it definitely had a good impression on me. I also like Knockenaria a lot more than I do Queen Maeve. Queen Maeve is okay, but Knockenaria felt a lot better. I'm not sure how to put it into words, honestly. And I do like Morgan, but I I'm kind of surprised. I thought I'd come out of Lost Bell 6 liking her best, like, well, everyone else, it feels like. But it was Castoria that ended up capturing my attention most. But I do like Morgan. She's not she's not a disappointing villain or anything. In fact, she's a much more understandable one than most. End of the Fairy Knights. Actually, Barghest surprised me the most. I genuinely thought Barghest would be a boring, honor above all else, honor over reason type of knight, but no, she actually had the most nuance of all of them. I think the only one that I came out with disappointment with was Barbatos Sith, and that's because Sith, well, they only had so much. They only really had so much screen time to go around, and he had to take the bullet so the others could get theirs. Very unfortunate that her backstory basically had to be done 10 minutes before she died. That's one thing I can never stand, when a character just drops their backstory right before they die. Getting rid of that. I wish we knew the qualifications for summoning and being grand. They might explain it later, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. They've clearly been very intentionally very vague about the Grand Servants and what they're all about, other than... I mean, we know their intended purpose was to fight the beasts of humanity, but that's about it. The qualifications for them and all that are absolutely being kept secret intentionally, and that's because this franchise loves to keep things vague so that they can interpret however they want later, as needed. In a way, that is very good forward thinking, though, because it does mean you're not strictly forced to adhere to the same rules at all times. But it can also, in some ways, it can also be frustrating because it means you can't give a straight answer most of the time. And as I said, sometimes it feels like Nasu likes to write stories purely to make sure that it's impossible that anyone could have possibly guessed what was actually going on. But again, there's no evidence to that. It's just 100% purely my own personal speculation. So feel free to call bullshit on it, because it probably is, if we're completely honest.
ちょっとかわいそうかな。
このから質の底に秘された問いこそは汝を測り見定める見しめとなる。クリーエニグマズ。
Hello, Vox Macro. Welcome to the stream. Oh, thanks for the follow. I stream just about anything here, so feel free to stop by anytime something catches your attention. Most grands are founders or interpret as such. I don't know. Orion wasn't really a founder of anything. He was just a hunter. A really damn good one, that's for sure. Of course, art's down. Maybe not Orion. Get in the Pokeball. Now, if any of the Nintendo ninjas are around, I am a legally distinct Fey creature. Which may or may not have contributed to how much I liked Lost Belt 6. And Remnant 2, for that matter. Actually, those two came out the same year. Huh. I guess it's that 2 nickels meme, because it's not too often, but it's weird that happened twice in the same year, or that we had stories about Britain being taken over and destroyed by fairies. There you go. full buffs, and nuke.
この謎をお解きやすお開拓です。このカラスの底に秘された大火さは汝を測り見定める
We're just bullying the boss Barbatos tonight, Fox Macro, so feel free to sit back and relax as I nuke this guy from orbit. Although I guess given the animation, it's more like I'm having the three Jins smacking him about, which I guess still qualifies for the Barbatos bullying. Oppenheimer, instant meme, I bet. I don't know, but I still bet. Oppenheimer is definitely one of those kinds of characters that could be interpreted a number of different ways. Although, given this game is Japan, they might not like him very much, and not with, or understandably so, I guess, if we're honest. But I guess it's hard to say. Oh, darn it. Like, I will be real with you, there are servants where they clearly did a lot of research to make sure everything is accurate, and then there's servants where they clearly just skimmed the Wikipedia page and didn't do anything beyond that. I'm gonna be... Now I do get it, they can only do so much research on each one, but, let's just say it's very obvious which, if there was a servant they were particularly passionate about designing. Oops. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a mistake I'm gonna regret in a moment. I accidentally had Oberon use the skill 3 on himself. Oh dear. Fingers crossed this can still kill Barbatos, even if it has to be done with, face cards. If not, I'm popping a command seal. Okay, good, it still killed him. Could Odysseus be summoned in any classics that maybe caster? They're usually... For someone like Odysseus, who had a lot of different type... How much did Odysseus fight in the Odyssey? I know he had a few, but I'm not sure. But he probably could, honestly. Guess I'm starting to get tired if I'm making a mistake, like accidentally having Oberon S3 himself. I just need to be a bit more careful here. I'm still gonna go a bit longer. I'm gonna go until I feel like I'm falling asleep. That said, I did notice that Sheba's damage was only a bit over 500k. I don't know if that was a high roll or low roll, but I think this is proof I definitely need to stick to Oberon. Just because I don't want to any risk that he survives the NP.
このカラスの底に秘された対価差は汝を測り見定める戒めとなる。フリーエニグマズ。今回はうまくいきました。
I must have forgotten one of the buffs then. Yeah, I'm starting to forget buffs. Maybe I am getting a bit too tired to keep going. Definitely Saber and Archer. Berserker I could see Athena influence someone to cast her assassin, but I have no clue. They're pretty open-ended about what qualifies for a class. I mean, look at the meme that archers can be damn near anything, even if they don't have an actual bow or gun. So yeah, they can definitely spin it in a number of ways if they want to have introduce someone in a new class. I mean, Sei most definitely doesn't seem like an archer. All she does is the random bullshit go throw stuff. When I first started this raid, it was 666,000 pillars destroyed. Now it's 2,800,000. That's true, but just his bow from the Trial of 12 shows he does have proficient in archery. That's true, yeah. But my example was more to show that they can interpret the classes however they want. Granted, it doesn't help the class name isn't always indicative. Like, the so-called ruler class isn't like nation ruler, it's a judge. Why they didn't call it the judge class is beyond my understanding, because apparently Nasu's goals are beyond my understanding. I mean, for all I know, he just liked the word ruler more. Ruler sounds better, but yeah, like I said, it does sound cooler, that's for sure. It's just not very indicative of what the class actually is all about. There we are. There we go, getting the right numbers again. Sheesh, has it truly been 3 hours already? Kind of a mixed bag. You have Jeanne d'Arc, and there's the Sherlock. Well, Sherlock was a special case that he was forced into it despite being summoned as a caster normally. And likewise, QSH actually made his own Saint Graph. He was such an advanced supercomputer, he was able to basically make his own Revenant class on par with a Grand tier, even though there is no Grand Ruler class. They were very clear there. The Grand classes are only the 7 main ones. But yeah, of those 3, the only natural ruler class was Jeanne d'Arc, and the others were special cases. Servant memory is a weird thing to me. Yeah, technically each summoning is supposed to be a fresh one. They can't have all the information from the throne because that is outside time itself. If they had access to it, they'd be able to get information about the event that's going on right now because, again, it's outside time, so the events going on there would be there as well. The main reason FGO has the characters remember the past is because, well, it's fan service. And not just the Singularities and Lost Belts, it's also they want to advertise the Fate series. Medea and Medea Lily actually have the same memories, it's just that Medea Lily has a more innocent demeanor and tries to have a more positive outlook. Only really turning on Jason when he was a terror. When she had no choice, I guess, would be the best way to put it. Or at least that's what I remember, I think. Like, they do really point out that even if summoned in a younger form, like Medea Lily was, she should contain all of her knowledge of the future events. The ones from the other Fate series, they remember them because, well, fan service. They need to advertise the series they're from, after all. Hence why Nero and Tamo no Mai's base forms talk about Hakuno from Fate Extra. And Heracles remembers Ilya. Strange to me. It is strange, yeah. Like I said, it's very clearly there for fan service stuff. Like, it's not just, oh, it's a fresh Morgan with no memory of Lost Belt 6. No, it's the Morgan that knows everything that happened in Lost Belt 6. People are much more interested in a character if it's the one they actually care about, which is why they try to clarify. It's also why they made Bride Nero a bit separate from the regular Nero, because regular Nero is from Extra, but Bride Nero isn't, so the Bride Nero is willing to waifu Gudao, Ritsuka. Yeah, they're not supposed to remember past masters or anything like that. Each summoning is supposed to be a completely fresh version of the character, even if a fleeting one, since they leave once their purpose in the war, whatever, is over. They largely just bend the rules for FGO specifically. Does remind me, I still need to play Fate Samurai Remnant. My understanding is the story is the main draw, but I'm fine with that. Last year I played Digimon Survive, and as neat as the tactical gameplay was, I'll be blunt and say, if you're playing Digimon Survive, it should be for that story, and story first and foremost. because the really fun skills didn't really come until everyone started reaching mega level at the end of the game, and otherwise the Fate Zero and Stay Night might only be Saber and Still. Oh, that's the arts debuff. I need to get rid of you. You almost got me there, buddy. You knew I was getting tired, my guard would be down. Clever. But I'm afraid cleverness will not save you from what comes next. OG Saber may not have too much story relevance in FGO, but they do certainly make an effort to be sure she's still meta relevant, that's for sure. Even now, I think she's technically the strongest AoE Saber in the game. What's up with alter egos? Alter egos are basically different aspects of servants. So like my Tammo cat, she would be an alter ego normally, but because she's already insane, she gets summoned as a berserker because then it basically just amounts to a free stat buff for her. Ibaraki and Shuten kind of have the same thing because they're all... No, it's No, Shuten's assassin. But I do know Ibaraki's profile directly says that as Oni are already classified as insane, it doesn't actually give her the usual madness enhancement into penalty and just gives her a stat buff. Likewise, Melt and Passionlip are all alter egos of Vivi, as is King Protea. The Sakura 5 are basically just like the Tammo 9 for Tammo no Mai. Rasputin is a special case. He took Kirei's body as part of the, well, for completely honest, it's not Rasputin, it's just Kirei. Even after Lost Belt 1, he openly admits, yeah, I'm not actually Rasputin, I'm just Kirei the whole time. So I think that's kind of a special case. Plus the alien god seems to be summoning its minions as alter egos regardless of their base classes. I mean, the Muramasa we summon is a saber, but the one in the story is an alter ego, for example. So I think the alien god is the one responsible for that little inconsistency. Oops. Here we go. Alright, there we go. Clean sweep. I don't do too many of these farming streams, if we're completely honest. This is just kind of a special case. But at the same time, it works since I kind of wanted to do something a little more laid back and low stress, and just farming is a good way to do that. I worry about farming streams being a bit, now what about pretenders? My understanding they feel like servants like Robin Hood and Sasaki qualify. I'm gonna be honest and say I'm not 100% sure about that. Like, the profile for Oberon said... No, it was on. It wasn't. It's not his profile. It was something when they were talking about him. It pretender. It has to be something where you. What was it? Oh, I guess I'm too tired to remember. It was something like you have to trick everyone, including the world itself, about someone else for the things you've done or whatever. I don't know.
この唐室の底に秘された尊さは汝を測り見定める身の締めとなるスリーエニグマズ
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of memory problems, so I guess I am starting to reach my limit here. I guess this will have to be the last one. An easy one. Good. Alright, well... Next time I'll definitely be doing the multiplayer stream with my buddies. I don't know how many of us actually liked Outriders, so we're probably going to be doing more Lethal Company. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Definitely felt a lot better having someone to bounce off of, that's for sure, so I appreciate you sticking around. Hopefully you had a good time. I'm told my voice can be relaxing, so I try to lean into that a bit. Also a good reason to be doing a more laid-back stream like this. Plus, I'm told my VODs can be nice to listen to while drawing or something, so... Try to keep for as long as Twitch allows. As well as a copy on YouTube and such. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess that'll be all for now. Sadly, it would appear none of my usual raid targets are on for now, so I think I'm going to just call it here. Wow, almost 3 million pillars destroyed, and it's only been a few hours since he spawned. Good job, Masters. Alright, well, until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.